everyone. How you doing? This is Aaron Maurer, and I'm here with another amazing guest here for our learning on putting out the fires of online learning. And today, this is a specific request that many of you were asking for, as many of you have been asked to kindly shift to Canvas and still using the Google tools that you have at your disposal. One of the big things is how do we get them to kind of play nice, and how do we get our rubrics and our integration of Canvas and Google working together so we can be more productive and streamline the process. And as I've told many of you already, I am not an expert on this. I wasn't going to pretend to be, but I've got someone here today that knows more than me. And so we're going to watch it. She's going to share with you some amazing tips and ideas around this integration, and then we'll set you on your way with some of your application of learning. So before we get into the learning, you want to jump in and introduce yourself, kind of set the stage of who you are, what you do, where you're from?
All right. I'm from Central California. My name's Marcia Carrillo, and I've been learning Canvas for about 6 weeks. Former Google Classroom user. I would consider myself advanced in technology, but I've had to do a lot of learning real quick. And so one of the things that I've done is I've been sharing my journey through Alice Keeler's premium membership. And there's a drip subscription to lots of different courses and topics. And this was one of them. It's called Moving from Google Classroom to Canvas LMS. So I ended up connecting with Aaron on the Teacher Tech Facebook page, I believe.
Yes.
Alice actually tagged me. So I said, hey, let's share some of the stuff I've been learning, because that's what I love to do. I'm an induction mentor, which is kind of like an instructional coach. We help in the state of California, we help teachers clear their credentials. And so I do that as a full release teacher on special assignment. And prior to this year of distance learning, we're full distance learning right now. We did several PDs every, professional learning sessions. And so we're having to redesign that as well. And so we're right there with you. And so let's go ahead and get started with some of the things you mentioned that you wanted to learn about Canvas. And first things first is this is the free version of Canvas, which looks a little bit different sometimes than what your school. And one of the things is these are your navigation links right here. Now, these can be hidden for students if you want them to be, so that only certain ones show up. And I know that's been a really helpful tip, and I'm going to start off by showing that is in your course. And how I usually always navigate in my course is I always go, and I want to teach students this too, is dashboard. And then the course I'm using right here is my biology. So when I get lost, I just go back to dashboard. That takes me to my home page. Now, if I'm a student, I start wondering, what else do I click on? Yes, we have down at the bottom here, and usually on the home page, you've got to have a connection. Otherwise, students don't know where to go. So we're going to go to settings. And I actually did a webinar on this just the other day because everybody wanted to know, how do we do this?
Right.
We have course details. This is where you can add the little picture tile. And navigation is what you want. So right now, how I have it set up, and I didn't show student view, but these would be only things that student would see. Normally, all these would have been listed. It's a real easy drag. You just drag them out. And even as an adult, the classes that I took, the only things that showed was home and modules. That was very helpful. Now, I will say one of the things with Canvas, it's like building a web page. You need to go and save. It doesn't just automatically save.
Right. Doesn't have that auto save like Google, right?
No, and you know what? I'm not saying I forgot to do it, but it's not intuitive for me to do that, and it's way at the bottom. So now we look at the student view. Notice that that was an easy thing to do over here, and we look what this is all students see. That's all that the students see, so they're not going to get lost. That is a big tip right there. So now we can leave student view, something that I found is you almost have to be on the home page to go to student view. It's not always, no matter which one you're on, student view isn't always just sitting there. So if you're wondering why, those are just some things that you find out along the way. So in modules, let's get down to it. Modules, one of the ways to organize a module is by week. Okay, and so let's go ahead and just make a new module. The other thing is an Alice Keeler tip, is to number things, and I'm going to tell you why. So if it was my first week of school, probably, and I'm not sure about, I guess numbering modules is fine. I'm going to number it, and it's going to be my welcome module. And I might put, well, we're in September now, so we'll go ahead with September 8th through whatever the date is, right? 11th. Now, this right here lets you lock it, and the prerequisites, if you're maybe in a different module, it's like you have to do these modules and these pages before you can have access to this. But if it was your first module, I mean, that's not going to be the case. Now we think, where'd that module go? When you, and I use this to make, is my demonstration, but a new module goes to the bottom. A new module goes to the bottom. Now there's these little handles right here on the side, and that lets you drag and reorder. So I can drag that and scroll it up. Come on, baby. And actually I saw there is some great Canvas Facebook pages. I mean, you will have 50 people will respond with an answer within an hour, I think. So I think Canvas community.
Yeah, that's, I think, would have been one of the most interactive places, I think, during all these times of COVID, as people have moved to all these places, have been the Facebook groups. I think a lot of people, we've been bombarded as teachers, like, you need to be on Twitter, you need to be this,
Twitter, right?
But man, I tell you, the Facebook groups have really
took off.
It's just been really positive in terms of getting that feedback, just like you mentioned. So we'll definitely put a link in the PD for people,
yes,
for these groups.
I mean, not everybody wants to baby be. But
right.
The other thing is, what our instructional coach is doing is taking those questions and putting them on there for them.
Yes.
And so before she does a PD, she asks for help and ideas, because sometimes you'll get a link.
Right.
So one of the things is, once you've made your module, and I don't know, it took me a week to learn this. I was a little slow, I guess. I was just going over here and clicking pages and just making a page wherever. So my pages were just all over the place. I didn't know that you needed to, and this is how you publish the module, right? I didn't know that you need to make your page and your things right here. This small little plus button is the one you need to use. And then when it went to assignment, I thought, I don't want an assignment. Well, that's the thing. There's a drop down here. So page, one of the differences is a page is usually where your content is, but an assignment is how you would integrate with Google. So we'll go ahead and start with that. So an assignment, and then we want a new assignment, and we're going to call this one, it's going to be a assignment 101, and it's going to be a Google Doc that we're going to assign, and indent just brings it in. So it gives you that as a choice. So you see that it's right under here, and this is the icon for an assignment. It doesn't look to me that different than other things, but I guess you'll get used to that.
Right.
Once you have made this title, now these 3 dots, remember, that's how you can do some different things, but if you wanted to edit just the title. But to actually put something on that, whoops, I must have. You have to click on that title now. And that's going to open up the assignment page. And then you're going to click edit. That brings up a rich text or HTML. You have both. And that's one of the difference in the school versions that I've noticed is instead of it saying HTML, there is an embed symbol down in the right-hand corner. That's one of the differences. So this is where we would to put our directions. What do we want students to be able, what do we want students to do? You wouldn't just want to put an assignment in there. So, you know, please complete the 3, 2, 1 or choice board or whatever. I'm just writing anything right now.
Sure.
And I just like to use 25 points. And then this assignment groups here, this would be a chance if teachers did want to have different assignment types, that would be a new group. So if they don't like that word even, they could put, you know, have different names for, you know, projects, participation, check-ins. I know we're doing things like that. Display as do not count. I think some of those are advanced features. The main thing we want to focus on here, and we are in an assignment. So we talked about pages or assignments. So this is an assignment, and this is one of the ways you know because it has all these different things for you to choose from. Submission type is where you integrate with Google. The submission type is, so right now, there's no way to submit anything. So you have to say, how are we going to submit it? If we want to submit with Google, we're going to say external tool. The external tool is Google. And so we're going to find it. So in this version, it's the Canvas cloud assignment. In my school version, and I can show you that too, the difference is it says LTI 1.3.
Okay.
So now it's going to link to, if I hadn't already done this, let's see what it's going to take me through. Okay, so I've already linked it, authorized it. Students, if they pulled this up the first time or so, or maybe every time, you know how it says authorize, authorize?
Yep.
One of the other tricks, okay, for me is we're in our Google Drive. For example, this is a Google form. Look what color it is. It's blue. It doesn't say Google form. I can't tell what's what, right? I can't tell what's a doc and what's a, so keeping that in mind, you may want to have, I have a specific folder and I might have written 321 Google Doc. I know it sounds ridiculous, but this is a Google form. And so there's some things that are a little different with a form, right? Mm. So then it pops back here, and this is just letting you know it's linking that now. Something that I like is load in a new tab. So when the student opens it, it would load in a new tab. That's helpful for students.
I think that's very helpful. I know just working with my daughter, we've been trying to do some work. And sometimes the documents are embedded within Canvas and it's really hard. You can't see the whole document. You're trying to like side scroll. It makes it a little cumbersome. It's not impossible, but I think if it could get it into a new tab, you know, you could really focus on the task at hand. So I think that is it's a small detail, but I think it's a very important detail from the user experience from a parent and a student, you know, from my own journey so far.
Open a new tab. Okay. I mean, I will say, are you kind of noticing that this kind of goes on and on?
Yeah.
It's the only thing, it's not really fast, but it is, I think you get faster. So I allow unlimited attempts, assign it to everyone. This is where you could, I'm going to put my biology class, everyone else. You could put your due date. I'm in distance learning. I'm given like 2 weeks, and I never like to have a late time, 8 o'clock, because we don't want kids staying up late. I mean, right. I'd really like to just put 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
But sometimes kids just need a due date. I mean, I'm going to work with you. Now, this right here, kind of like scheduling assignments in Google, this, you don't want it to be available yet. So this is where you would do that. So I'm making it today, but maybe I don't really want them to see it till tomorrow.
Mm.
So right here is where you could change that. And let's see. That's to it. So there's more about assigning differentiation here too, if you want to assign to a specific student. And then I just save and publish. Let's see how that turns out. So this again is still the teacher view, and notice how it looks right here.
Yep.
Okay. And it looks a little bit different in the LTI. So remember, this is Google Cloud. It does, I don't know why, but it looks a little bit different. And see how it gave a little frown face, but I just clicked over on the on the left, and it's gonna come up. Well, maybe it's going to spin for a long time, but that's how you do it.
Okay.
And then let's look at the student view for that though, because it's really not about us. It's about how does that look for a student.
Yeah.
That's usually my main thing, is like, how does that look for a student? And then one of the things is, like in this particular class, I have no students. So I'm not going to be, I'm going to be able to see it as a student, but I'm not going to be able to do too much with it. So I don't know if that's a problem for teachers, because they usually have a student in their class. So we want to go to student view. So we were at our home page to go to student view. That's why I had to go back there. And see how nice that is. Instead of wondering, where do we go? The kid can click on modules, or the student. This is that Google Doc. And so the reason that we use that numbering system, just like in Google, if you do Control F for find, it'll jump right to that number. So yes, then the student would authorize, and then it would open up. They'll be able to type on it. This makes a copy for every student. You notice it didn't even ask that.
Right.
That's the only choice you have. That's the only choice you have, is make a copy for each student. Let me show it from my school view, because what I noticed from the school view, or not school view, but LTI, looks a little different.
Okay.
And it sold me on it a little more. Yes, here we go. Okay. Not a waste. So it'll either say Google Drive Cloud Assignment when you pick external tool, or it'll say Google Assignments. Google Assignments is better. That's the best one, because that one shows a teacher, and I'll share this document with you, but it shows a teacher how many students have entered, have submitted or not, right in front of you. And I didn't, and I think I'm not seeing that on the other class, because on the cloud, I'm just not seeing it because I don't have any students enrolled in that class.
Sure.
So I'm not benefiting with the student part, because I need somebody to enroll in my class.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was how to assign a Google Doc. You would do the same thing to assign a Google Slides. Did you want to demonstrate that?
I don't think so. I mean, if it's the same process, I think they can. They can grab
theme.
that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think for their,
What about what about how to embed a website?
yeah, we can. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So I'm actually going to just go to this one to show you. I don't know if your math teachers know about the wonderful GeoGebra. It's not just geometry, I don't think. But that's how it would look embedded on a page. And
Okay.
so students would go right to this page, right? And so how do we make that happen? So we're in the edit. And that's my favorite thing about Canvas, just to let you know, is embedding things on pages. Is it looks very professional, and that's something that you can't do with Google Classroom. So this was, I had used the HTML editor. And so I'm just going to delete that so that we take you through. So normally when you log in, you would see the toolbar and all of this. And to embed anything, you just need the embed code and then click on this HTML editor. Now, one trick that you need is there's this code that you can find online, but I also include it in my, it's like the code for embedding a Canvas, a website into Canvas. I just Googled that, and Canvas actually has a wonderful resource. I'm clicking on everything. There it is right here, actually. This was from Canvas. So I just copy this code, highlight, Control C or Command C or right click C, go back to your page. Remember, I had already clicked on HTML here. Control V, paste it in there. Now, right here is where you're going to, it says paste URL between these quotation marks. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go over to my GeoGebra page. Now, I will say that, you know, I was doing a live webinar, and of course, I just picked 2 random websites that didn't work.
Yeah.
And and I thought that was like the first 2 that have never worked, right? And I did read a little bit more, and one of the things that it said is to make sure in the website that it says HTTPS. If it just says HTTP, that you need to add the S. I don't know if that would have helped. But anyway, that part of the website needs to be there. I had picked like ESPN.com. Well, the HTT part needs to be there. Anyway, I was probably nervous because when you're being recorded.
Right.
And
Right.
then, right, when you're being recorded. Okay, so I copied that URL, Control V, pasted in there. And this is kind of anytime you want to embed things, some of these are the same things. You'll notice, and this is something I learned, is that there's width and height. And so sometimes you'll see code and you'll notice width and height. On the width, if you don't want it to be kind of small, you can, it says 600. I change that to 100%. And that means it's going to be the whole width of the page. And then I'm going to save it. You do not adjust the height. That was, I mean, I didn't say that, but somebody, I watched some videos and they said just leave the height, but it depends on, there's different things. So anyway,
Right.
there's your published page, right, that students would have access to. And then there's the next button. That's when it's in a module, the students just click next or previous. That's what I love. That's something I really love about Canvas. So then they just go to the next assignment and the next assignment or whatever you select for them to do.
Right.
One of the things, so I'm letting you kind of see how this loads, just to let you know, so that other one might not have loaded. Okay, here we go. So this was another assignment of a Google Doc, and it might not have loaded yet on that other page. Remember how it just looked blank?
Yeah.
This is the full thing right here. So this shows the student the whole choice board. You see how this is?
Yep.
And that code could probably, you could probably mess with it if you wanted, but this is giving every student a copy, and this was a choice board. So they would click on this to get their copy, but this is kind of a preview. And that's how it looks. And that was through the assignment. So I think that's how it's gonna look. And it on that other one, and it just didn't look like that because it does take a little while to load. One of the things that people found out nationwide is on the pages, you'll put all this rich content with images and videos that's the student's bandwidth. It is better to keep your pages simple because of bandwidth on their, like it can work on your side, but then the students are like, it's just not clicking, it's not opening.
Right.
So
right.
even, you know, that's one of the things I like about the embedded pages though. I think that those are out external, you know, they're external links. So back over here to modules. Yeah, that's pretty much it for assignments. Have they been using what's called Commons?
You know, I'm not sure. So
Commons is over here on the left-hand side. And there's complete classes already made on every topic that you can import with one click. There's also, and then you can edit those too. So you can go in and favorite them. You can, it says import from Commons. So right up here, yeah, it's my internet's lagging. But you can even share your teachers, not that they want to necessarily be famous or whatever, but the other thing is you can export your things into the Commons. And then if you ever need it, if you're worried, because people get worried about their stuff, they could get it from there. Or if they just want to share, they can share it with themselves, with everybody, or just some people. Right here where it says shared, imported, but you type in your title. I know we had, for example, this was a hard one for us, diesel. Diesel mechanics. I might have spelled it wrong. Anyway. There we go, diesel engines. And then it lets you know there's a whole course right here. And so you can go into that course and you can look at it. Sometimes there's a preview and details, and then you can say you want to import it or you want to favorite it. If you add it to your favorites, then later, that's one of the things on your toolbar. It'll say from import from favorites. Import from favorites. I'm tempted to do the favorite and import it right now. Right? You're like, oh, I found something. And then this tells you that there's only one module, 2 discussions, 2 quizzes, and so on. But that was something for my teacher to start with. He had nothing. Right. You know, he had all his own stuff. But there's courses, you know, like, for example, biology. And I just pulled in the whole course, and then I can edit or remove things from that. So teachers we had teachers with 5 different prep periods. They could pull something in. And for example, this is just a discussion. That's just a module. That's just a quiz, but there are complete courses. And then the other thing is for diesel mechanics is engines. So we you know, search for things a little different.
Right.
But this is one of the main reasons that a lot of districts went to Canvas, because they could actually create their own course. There's things called blueprint courses and send it out to everybody. right? Teachers usually want to create, but there's already a lot of really good things. There's some teachers that there's like buttons and different templates. They're all in here. All you do is search for them. And so before teachers go crazy making things, this would actually be, to me, one of your segments is searching and using Canvas comments.
Okay.
That's kind of could be a lifesaver. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's a module on a book I know lots of people read. Night.
Right.
Okay.
Well, awesome. This has been great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time to share some of this stuff. And I know the teachers are going to be appreciative, and they get the opportunity here to put
All right.
some of the ideas to use and application, and hopefully that'll help streamline their work and help them work a little more efficiently. Because I know every second we can save is a second earned, and
Hey.
time is of the utmost importance because there's just not enough of it right now. So happen.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Yep. Take care. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.